Korean spiced barbecue burgers from Lissa from Raw Food Romances. Make It Raw 4, part of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, which is on now. We are going to be making Lissa's burgers today. We are also going to be talking about optimizing gut health. How do you get optimal gut health on a raw vegan diet or raw food diet? The Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle is on now. There's 32 contributions. I've been sharing recipes day after day, hundreds of recipes. There's courses, experts, doctors, health coaches. We've all come together. All new content, just $50. And it's usually worth $1,300. And there's only a few days left. It will finish on the 11th of May, and that's PST time or PDT time. But to start today, I will put the link for that bundle down below. I'll say, hey, Jen, bundle here. We'll do you up. It is a great deal, and I just think it's all new. So many great tools can really help. But as I said, we are going to be making Lissa's Korean spiced barbecue burgers today. Look at these patties. I have sauce going on here. I do have my camera back up today. Somehow I had defaulted back to my computer camera yesterday. People are like, I can't see. And I was like, I had to work out why. So I will move the camera so you can see me make this burger. It's like another day, another breakfast of like, what's Sky having? I've had like nachos. I had the parfait yesterday. What else have I had? I had the pizza. I called it a marriage pizza. It was like Melody's pizza base with Nate's herbs, like a pesto, and then Lissa's sweet chili sauce all over it. So much fun, so yum. But let's get into making these burgers today. Let me just move this camera so you can see. I've got lots of fillings to put in here. Let's see if we can move this down. See them all over there? All sitting there. Okay, let's bring it down here. This is operation. Move that back a bit more. We'll do Operation Burger, right? So first off, we're going to need a plate. Get that centered nicely. Okay. And then we are going to be filling up these lettuce buns. Oh, is that? Yeah. So this is the bottom lettuce bun. We're going to be filling this up. And I've got the top. It's the top here. The top of that here, which will go on. Is that right way around? I think so. Yes, it'll go on like that because we're going to fill it up. So first off, I'm going to put sauce on the bottom. So this is the sauce that's in Make It Raw 4. It's Korean inspired. Now, apparently when Raw Chef Yin went to visit Lissa, she made this then. So let's go wild. I'll probably do like double sauce, hey? Get it really saucy. There's so many recipes, and I feel like I, as a chef, get better every year I do the bundle because I try out all different techniques and ways of making food, and I'm not going to turn this into a sauce burger. Okay, so we've got that first layer going on there. And then I'm going to suggest that I probably put on some burger of these patties. Look at these. So much flavor. This does have some sunflower seeds. They're not like heavy on fats, which is great. Are we doing like 2? Or are we going all out and doing 3 there? I don't know. Maybe we can get a third one going on in there. Does that go? Okay. Okay. So we got 3. I don't know if that's supposed to be there, but that's what we're doing. I'm then going to you are to do some micro greens, but I forgot to grab some. So I'm just going to do some spinach. Got some spinach going on there. Now, it was for like sliced tomato, but I have baby tomatoes. So some of them may pop out the sides, but that's all fine. It's all fun. It's all fun food. I'm actually thinking I might have to like just take one of these. No, we'll leave it in. Making this like a big burger. Okay, and then I'm going to put some avocado on. Lissa didn't have avocado in hers, but truthfully, this is a really low-fat recipe, and why not put some avocado in here? Whoa, this is getting like a real big burger here. So we are then going to do some kimchi. Got some kimchi going on here. This was actually really easy to make these patties as well. Just blended them up last night. Put them in the dehydrator. You will need a dehydrator for this recipe. And then we're going onions. Oh, that smells so good. And I mean, look, I could try and get some more sauce in here, right? Or maybe I'll just put the sauce on the roof. The top here. So this is the top of the burger. I'm going to put some more sauce in here because we want it saucy. Let's see. We've already got sauce on the bottom, but we're going to put sauce on the top too. So I don't know if you're supposed to cut this, probably, but we'll see how we go with this. So we've got sauce going on here. And then we're going to close this burger. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at this burger. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Okay, we are going to have to cut this because I will not be able to eat it. Oh, where's that knife? I don't want it to topple over. I don't think it's going to topple over. Let me see. That's it. I want a serrated knife. I find those a little easier when cutting something like this. Okay. So let's pray. Let's pray. Holy moly, this looks amazing. Oh my gosh, look at that. This looks so good. I won't take a picture. I'll make another one later. But I'll put this down. Look at that. It looks amazing. Someone wrote to me this morning and said her burgers are amazing. That sauce tastes good. Hadn't had one yet. So let's move this to the side. And we will watch me eat it. And I can tell you how it is. I love, like, had this sauce. I think it's called gochujang. I think that's how you pronounce it. You can correct me if that's wrong. So look at this burger, guys. Wow. Look at this. Okay. Let me move my computer back. I do not want a hamburger on my computer today. Okay. Let's try it. Oh my gosh, there's so much flavor in this. Wow. This is really good. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's insanely good. Wow. 10 out of 10 for that recipe. In the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, which is on now for just $50. I put the link in the comment. But I am going to talk about optimizing gut health today with a raw food diet, because I think a lot of people are shocked. So I have no stomach, duodenum, or top of intestines. There is a small amount left, but I'll explain what happened. A lot of people hear that I eat raw foods and they're like, but you cook it. And I'm like, no. And they're like, don't you need it soft? No. In fact, when I first ate raw foods, it was like the first time I felt my gut actually working. Like you could feel the fibers actually getting the whole gut working. But so you can understand what I went through and how I lost my stomach, let me take you back to that part of my life. So it's actually almost probably 20 years ago, my stomach was taken out. So if you know my story, I was sick from the age of 8. From the age of about 16, I had this rare congenital disease, which was hormonal. It was in my pelvis and it caused me tremendous amount of pain and surgeries. While that was going on, I was put onto non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications by doctors to help with the pain. Now, these are not good for guts. If you know anything about non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, you will know they aren't good for gut. They can rip away and burn into the gut lining. Put on top of that, someone who's under tremendous stress, in a lot of pain, and when they tested me, when this all went down, I had H. pylori as well in my gut. So that combination was not good. But the year that I actually had, so I actually ended up with a duodenum ulcer in my duodenum. Now, before, I think it was around the year or the year after that the Australian scientists won the Nobel Prize for finding out that the H. pylori virus is the cause of a ulcer and not stress. So leading up to many years, if somebody got an ulcer, it was always their stress. Now, I will say I was very stressed. I was trying to work. Had been through hell. I was still in pain. So who knows? But there was this H. pylori bacteria that was in the gut as well. So I'm going through a lot of pain, and then I started to get severely anemic, and they put it down to the surgeries I was having for my pelvis. Plus it was hormonal. They thought I was losing so much blood, and that was causing me to become severely anemic. I had to come home from work because I couldn't stay conscious. I have ways of staying conscious, like clenching limbs, because you start drawing blood into them. But that's an adaptive process. I shouldn't be at work like trying to stay conscious. Anyway, over the weekend, I felt really, really unwell. Hey, koala mama. And I ate, and when I ate, I felt a bit better. But if you're severely anemic, you've got a severely low blood pressure as well. So sometimes eating can kind of just give you like that blood sugar burst, a bit of energy, a bit of fluid hydration, electrolytes. So I had a couple meals, and all of a sudden I started vomiting. But every time I vomited, I was passing out. But I didn't know I was passing out because I'd come to and just keep going. What had happened was I'd bled out so much from the duodenal ulcer, which had perforated in my gut. There wasn't enough blood to get to my brain. So even when I passed out there, my brain's not functioning. It's got no memory. But my mum kept hearing this, because every time I stood up, the blood would drop. Any blood that I had go to my heart and major organs and things like my brain, which is a major organ. But of course, breathing in your heart is even more important than consciousness. I would just bang, and mum could hear all these banging around the house. And she found me, and then I had diarrhea as well. And every time I pushed, I'd black out. So it's getting quite serious, but I am so adaptive with my health. I'm 24, 25 at this stage of my life. And I noticed every time I was pushed to the ground, I would come conscious, and then I would stand up because I didn't realize what had happened and black out. I got to this point where I was like, don't move me, because I can stay conscious, like flat on the ground. So mum called the ambulance, and the ambulance like, yeah, your blood pressure's a little bit low, but do you think you need to go to hospital? I'm like, something is seriously wrong. Like, I've been pretty sick in my life, but something is wrong. Anyway, when I got to the hospital, my hemoglobin was like in the 20s or 30s. It was really, really low because I'd bled out. They start transfusing me, but they want to know what's going on. And I'm explaining to them that I have all these weird hormonal symptoms, and they're like going to transfer me to like a private hospital to manage me once my I'm not anemic anymore, and they've done all the transfusions. But then a gastroenterologist came past and he said, have you got any new symptoms? Because a lot of people who have extremely severe anemia have bled out somewhere with really low hemoglobin. And I'm like, well, you know what, at night, because the pain in my back was so bad, I couldn't feel that I bled out. I said, at night, I get like a sharp pain in my gut, but only at night. He's like, let me take a look. So he takes me out into surgery, kind of tells my mum, she'll be 40 minutes and she'll be back out. 14 hours later, they had to bring in a trauma surgeon for another hospital because no one in that hospital could fix me. They cut me open from just like where my sternum is to under my belly button, went in and in down orally as well. And both sides, they're trying to cauterize and save my top part of my digestive tract. Anyway, they get me stable. I wake up, I'm in ICU, then I go to HCU, and this is taking months, and you can't eat. And then there's fluids, and then like thicker fluids. And then I'm about to go home, and I project bright red blood everywhere, back into emergency surgery, do the same thing, cauterizing inside, outside. And they said, if you bleed one more time from your digestive tract, you have to have your stomach removed. Well, they drew a diagram, like not just my stomach, but the duodenum and the intestines. I had to cut away everything rotted. I vomited blood. So I'm back in for another massive surgery. And then to recover from that took ages, and I'm just not eating. But I got home. And at that stage, when you've had part of your stomach removed, you just keep bringing things back up. It's not digested, you just bring it back up. But in truth, in the scheme of things, my stomach was never the problem. Okay, it was at this time, it was hormones and a disease I had in my pelvis. And then that all flared up. And I had terrible problems assimilating nutrients from when I lost my stomach. Right now, they say that the stomach is the second brain. So it's and with all the trauma I went through, it doesn't surprise me that I got to 37 and I had a break with reality, lost my memory. From that point, I had severe psychiatric problems. So with moving on from this now, I then got through this. Now, every diet I ate, I needed like infusions. I never had all the nutrients up. I was always needing iron infusions until I found raw foods. Now, once I found raw foods, my gut seemed to, at the start, do really, really well. Okay. So, but I think it's because at the start, I couldn't eat what over time a raw vegan has the ability to eat. So just a side note, if you're a raw vegan, you can eat a lot of food and it not bother you as much as if you overate a hamburger and you got yourself really sick, or overate on a milkshake. And those foods are quite calorie dense. So I would have a tendency in the past to not have much of them. So anyway, I'm doing the raw vegan thing, and basically I could eat any raw foods. I'm talking nuts, I'm talking seeds, I'm talking fermented foods, no histamine issues, plodding along. But I did notice people in the community, and also I noticed myself, is that fruit seemed to be higher vibrationally, which I wanted, and seemed to give people greater healing. So I was trying to get rid of like the nuts and seeds and not so many greens and do more fruits, to the point where by 8 months in, I started to notice bloating. So all of my symptoms went, all these diseases were getting better, blood tests were getting better, except I had a bloated belly. But you have to remember, in the scheme of things, this doesn't really faze me or bother me compared to what I've been through. This is like I'm a bit bloated. But I'll come back to why that's a problem, because eventually wherever you've got inflammation, if you don't look after it, it will, like a car and a tire that's about to burst or swell, it'll just explode. So I'm doing more fruit. And on this lifestyle, there's a huge thing about calories, getting calories. You've got to get calories. It's all about calories. And I'm shoveling food in. I'm doing more and more and more. And then as I'm getting what I think was happening, I was eating, not digesting the food properly, because I noticed after about a year and a half, the fruit was literally coming out how it went in. So I'm finding I'm getting dehydrated, but I'm not registering dehydration. I'm just eating more food, and the food's kind of pushing everything through. And people say, oh, you said you did really well on fruit. Why didn't you disclose this? I didn't know. I truly, if you've been as sick as I have and have a bit of bloating, who cares? Until about, how long was it? About a year, 2 years in. And now I've done a lot of like watermelon, like monomils of watermelon. And I'm finding I can't really get anything else down but really light fruits. And I'm barely eating any greens because they bothered me. And I then start going, okay, I'm craving salt. And I hadn't had salt in 2 years. And I think my other problem is if my body needed salt and had forgotten to get salt, it would make me eat like a lot of avocados or a huge amount of tomatoes or a huge amount of celery, kind of pushing my gut more. So I start adding back salt, and then that starts to cause me problems. I'm like, that doesn't work. I think, is it nuts and seeds? Because they got minerals and salt. I'm craving those. That starts causing me problems. This kind of all implodes with me getting shingles. But I do believe it stems from the gut. And it is a learning curve. And I guess I'm sharing this now because I see the whole picture, because I'm in a space now where my gut health is amazing. So I can talk about this. I've worked really, really hard on my gut health. So I get shingles and I cannot digest a thing. I mean, shingles is in the nerves. And this all started when I was 8 with chicken pox. If I ever get shingles, I get very sick for like years after, because I've had it a couple times. So I've got shingles. I can only get down watermelon, but I can't get up again. And my stomach is so swollen. And then I work out, because I can never get juice in, because not having a stomach, it dumps straight into the intestine. You get a blood sugar spike, you get heart palpitations, bit of diarrhea. But I must have been able to adapt. And I mean, if you're only eating like grapes and watermelon, it's not much of a step up to do some juice. So I was blending the juice and noticing I could get up. But by this time, I haven't had a blood test. And remember, about 8 months after is when my iron is at 0.8. And this is really important, because if you're having just juice and fluidy fruits, it's like having a liquid infusion, like having a hydration infusion in hospital with electrolytes. And if you have ever had your iron plummet and you need a blood transfusion, they will give you fluids while they're waiting to test your blood, match your blood, because you will come to, and a lot of the volume in your body is fluid. So if you listen to this story from this shingles point, I literally lived off most of the day off liquids, a lot of liquids. Like when I juiced, I was having like 8 liters, 9 liters a day, still thirsty. But remember, going up to shingles, I've done a lot of sweet fruit. So I haven't had things that are higher in iron like I did at the start. So I've come through, I'm up from the shingles as long as I'm on juice. When I try and re-eat, my gut, my brain, the brain fog, now I'm like, what do I do? And I'm just craving green juice, which makes sense at this point if my iron, which we're assuming didn't overnight just drop to 0.8 because there was no bleeding, it would have taken about 8 months to get to that low from where it was. I don't know exactly what it was, but I wasn't anemic anymore. The blood test I'd had before, a year before. So from the last blood test, over a year, so there's like about 4 or 5 months that I get shingles. And then this whole time it's like juice, I'm dehydrated, I've got blood sugar problems, I can only have greens. My gut the whole time, and I'm putting on a ton of weight. People probably didn't notice because I'm quite small, but I could tell, like, and plus when you're in a raw diet, the food kind of just either assimilates or leaves. Anyway, so nothing was really working. Like things like CMOS gel and greens were helping. And then anyway, I had the iron infusion and I kind of stabilized. But I was noticing I was doing something to help what I thought was helping my gut, and that's juice. The more I juiced, the more I then craved fiber, like dehydrated, dense foods or nuts. And then you've got a really bad combination going on there of like fruit juices in the morning and even green juices. Anything that even was juice was just not agreeing with me, especially then I was having something really dense in the afternoon. I think I was kind of making cement going on in my stomach. I start doing things like having more CMOS gel and notice it helps. I then, because I'm not very good at supplements or taking things, they don't work with me that well. I started using Lou Corona's enzymes. Did they fix me? No. Did they help? Yes. Started to notice any food I ate would come out digested. When I'd go to the toilet, it'd come out digested. Then also at this time, I put my hormone replacement back in. I really felt a whole accumulation of issues, just feeling a little bit weaker, thinking maybe it was the juice in my gut, but I feel a lot better having the hormone replacement back in. I will also say having more estrogen makes me really, really sensitive to what my body's doing and needs, really sensitive. And I'm noticing at this stage, I can't eat what other raw vegans are eating. And I think you guys need to listen to this. Hey, because I'm all about you doing you. So I'm thinking I think as well, coming from being so skinny, that if I don't eat like eat huge amounts, I'm kind of going to be judged. If I don't have enough calories in, what are you doing? If I don't eat fruit, am I doing it right? I scrapped it all and went back to how I always think. I think I always thought I was doing it my way, but things just creep in. Okay. Until I got my hormone replacement in, and it was starting to become clear as day that I just I should just stop eating, which I couldn't do. But you have to just do what the doctor said. You can't eat 3 meals a day, even. You can't eat massive raw vegan meals. You have to eat anywhere from 6 to 7 small meals a day. And this is where I started eating what I felt like, but just smaller amounts. And I tried not to juice as much because I was really feeling this cementing type issue was coming on. I was better just having, and this is where I stopped and I went keto for a bit, because I was having blood sugar issues and histamine issues. Now, I don't believe keto is the way, and I never said it was, but it was brilliant at putting a halt on having blood sugar rises, like as in I was just feeling like off, bloated, cloudy, and it stopped it. And then when I reintroduced some sweet fruits with like more greens and veggies, I wasn't as sensitive. So it did really help me. But the smaller meals and not eating as much, and if you've got a bit of extra weight, Sky, if you skip a meal, it's not really a problem. You've got to get your gut not so swollen. I started to put more omega-3s in. I couldn't digest chia and flax very, very well. So the omega-3 flax oil, a good quality one from the fridge, was kind of my go-to in my meals. And I was craving a bit of protein, but that's it didn't fix my gut. The omega-3s and getting them in really helped. So I'm having smaller meals. I'm using some enzymes and probiotics, and I'm getting omega-3s in. And this is a lot of work. Like I would say the amount of work that I've had to work on my gut, which if you know my story and my trauma and my history, kind of makes sense. But it's also about listening to your body and what feels right. And I'm not saying go out and get everything I'm doing, but if something you feel called to, try it. I even think if I put everything in at once, it probably would have clogged up. So the omega-3s are definitely helping, and they're helping kind of deflame my body. And then I get a broken toe and I'm not moving as much. But during this time, I put in magnesium. And I noticed the next day I would sleep better, but the next day my bowel would really empty. And I noticed my stomach was a lot flatter. And so I upped the magnesium to a point where I was making sure every morning that my bowel was empty. Then during the day, I was just eating as needed. Now, mind you, I'm not doing Pilates and running at the moment. So my food intake is like I get up and I'll have like 1 liter of some sort of juice, and then maybe another 500 mils of juice, whether that's green juice or coconut water. I try not make it too sweet. And then I really will pick at some fruit if I want, or pick at some veggies if I want, but I will have one main meal like this and eat it over hours. And then after that, I might have a little bit of fruit, but then I stop. I'm finding my gut health is even better while I'm doing this bundle, and I have my main meal at 11 a.m. for me, and I usually have completed it by 11 a.m. completed it by 1 p.m., maybe a couple handfuls of berries. By 2, nothing. And my gut health is really good. If I eat again, if I go, I think I need some extra calories and eat, it's like the magnesium tablets kind of get stuck in the food. And also the next day I wake up and I feel like I weigh a ton. So it has been a gut health journey, but my gut health is really good. I took a picture of myself. I haven't posted it because I don't know, like it's my thing to do yet, and say, look at my stomach, but it's flat as a tack. And it really is about slow for me. I know I'm missing my stomach, which means the food isn't digesting in the proper place. And then the bacteria is in the wrong place in the small intestines. But I really noticed that large colon, that transit across there is slow. And I've tried anything like Dr. Morse's herbs. Oh my God, I'm no good with herbs. I get like really like irritated. My stomach just swells. So this magnesium really works. I'm fine at getting some chia seeds and flax seeds in now, but I make sure I have omega-3s. And it's not a huge amount of Coronas. I think they're called lysozymes, which is both the enzyme, which has like protease, lipase, I think it's got amylase, to break all the fats, lipase, protease, proteins down, amylase. You've got sugars being broken down. It helps first break down the food because I'm missing that first part. Then I've got probiotics, which are also going to give me more bacteria. The omega-3s, I also do use sea moss gel. I think getting minerals helps, but the magnesium was the final key for me. Walking as well helps. So it's a whole picture. Good night's sleep helps, but as you can hear is once the magnesium came in, like I wake up every day with a flat stomach, but I'm still working hard at not overeating and just eating as needed. Because I just think as much as we think we need calories, if you shovel them in and destroy your guts, I think you're going to end up with problems down the line. So that's kind of like, there are other things you can do. So if someone like myself is missing a stomach, the reason I get things like histamine issues is because I wouldn't have a lot of DAO, which is diamine oxidase, I think that's how you pronounce it, which breaks down histamines. And all my histamine issues have stopped. I did notice after I did keto, and during keto, I had no histamine issues. If I had too much sweet fruit, it came back. But I don't necessarily think it's the sweet fruit. I think it's because that whole system gets clogged and things start fermenting in there. And I am someone who will always need a little bit of fat because it helps my nerve pain. After being through what I had a lot of nerve pain. So I can't just do sweet fruits. And I also, if I ever do just sweet fruits, I kind of don't look as healthy. I need to make sure I'm getting some more minerals, some proteins, some fats, and I find I get more of that from greens, more veggies, nuts and seeds. But so you can buy enzymes. I've never tried them. See, I'm someone who does everything not to put anything extra in because I feel like if your system, so this is the thing with gut health. If your system's clogged and you go, right, Sky said to get, like enzymes and probiotics and sea moss gel and magnesium and omega-3s, and you put all that in and you're like, it's not working for me. It's going to clog you up. Like there's no magic pill. It's kind of like getting in tune with your soul. You have to get in the rhythm of your body and you have to find a way to be comfortable as well. That if you're a bit bloated or uncomfortable, you have to just have some water or some coconut water and let it pass. I really struggled with sitting in that space until I got my hormone replacement back in. And I think that's just because I had some sort of imbalance. And I was always needing to eat or do something, or I don't know. So it's like the gut health is a huge picture, and I'm not going to sell to people that there's a magic bullet. But I do know that as soon as I had raw foods, because there's so much, anything that is able to be broken down and assimilated that's raw it's the whole package. It's got the hydration, it's got the nutrients, it's got the enzymes, it's got the vitamins. So it's like, I feel like my body appreciates that raw food. So yeah. And look, I do work with people as a health coach who do need to stay on cooked foods or parts of cooked foods to help their gut health. What I do find, if someone comes to me and they've been raw for a long time with gut issues and they try to do like more pumpkin and things that they think are softer and will digest better, they end up with like this energy problem. It's like the energetics of food. And that's what I love about raw foods, is it gives us so much energy and life force. So these are all things to think about. And I don't want to say that these are all like magic bullets, because even the magnesium, if I take it with a full stomach, it kind of just is like heavy. It's kind of because I've stopped eating. I could eat I have to finish eating by 4. And then I need to give it a good break. And I go to bed early too. Like I like to be getting ready for bed by 7:30, tucked up by like 8:30, asleep by 9. So they're just some tools that can maybe help. And look, I still think raw food's optimal. I know a lot of people think it's not. I will say I can get lots of fermented foods in now, which is really helpful, like things like kimchi. But I'm not eating big amounts like I used to either, which I think just overwhelmed my system. And then if the system's full, it just sits there and you've got high histamine foods just sitting there. So I really appreciate that I can do more gut-friendly foods. But when you first start, it is a bit of a push and a pull. So Koala Mama said, it feels like raw food almost digests itself. I agree. When I first started this lifestyle, I had diarrhea probably sorry, too much information, but for the first few months when I went raw, but I felt amazing. It was like my body was just kind of adjusting. But the one thing I noticed was that everything that went in, you could feel, it was like, I used to say it's like my insides are doing a sit-up. Like, you know, when you do a sit-up and you can feel your body working. When I started to eat raw foods, it was like my whole body's doing a sit-up, probably all the fiber. It's amazing. But if I was to suggest to anyone where to start with gut health, I would start with slowing down and eating what you need. And if somebody says I'm constantly bloated, more than likely, and there is like clogging going on there or back, even if they're like, I hardly ate anything, you'd be surprised at how we can like end up backed up. And I'm not saying there's a magic pill for that, but sometimes just eating more mindfully and slower and what we need. And I also believe outdoors. I believe in grounding. I believe grounding is like those electrons from the earth cannot be replaced by anything, not even a grounding mat. And it calms the mind. And it's really like, if you think of your gut as working with the mind and your spirit and your soul, really, it's like this delicate piece of machinery that we need every single day to get the nutrients we need so we can have our body running it at top performance and get things in like this recipe by Lissa from the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, which is a Korean spiced burger. I was just thinking, like, last year I could never eat any of this food. I've come so far. This time last year I just come off a juice cleanse and everything was bothering me, and I'm like, oh no. But it's just a work in progress. So yeah, well, that's today and how I've optimized my gut health. How to optimize gut health is just listen to your body. Foods don't agree with you this week, they might agree next week. Just go with it. Listen to your body. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be earlier because tomorrow is 9 a.m. my time, which is like my weekly live. But I might actually make one of my recipes tomorrow and show you guys how to make something. So yeah, have a good day. Have a good evening. Love you guys. See you soon.